sprint on him and must feel okay today, especially with some of the big sprinters out of the picture. This is Sastre, winner of the 2008 Tour de France whilst riding for CSC with Carlos Barredo in his wheels. Sastre doing a good job getting away on that 20 kilometres to go banner. When Cobo went to follow Chris Froome, Sastre went with him and has continued on down the road. That's quite a smart move, Sean, from the 2008 winner of the Tour.
Yes, it was a good move because immediately he just continued on with his effort, and by doing that he was taking the second position in that intermediate sprint, which would have been the 4 seconds. So a good move, and now they're continuing on the good move because Sastre is pushing on here with Barredo. And of course, when you look at the general classification, Froome at 13 seconds, the sprint is always a little bit dangerous because the 20 seconds bonification, if something happened in the sprint, for example, the sprinters they get tangled in each other, a number of them go down. Froome is there in 10th or 15th position, and if he could manage to win the stage, then he would take the maximum bonifications, which is 20 seconds. Where in the situation here, if the two of them can hold off, well then the 20 and 12 has gone. So then it's taking a little bit of more danger. That's highly unlikely danger, but still it's always a little bit nervous times as you come in there when there's a lot of movement, and that's the reason that Sastre is pushing on with Barredo at the moment. So Geox are just really trying to play it 100% safe at the moment.
Tactically, Geox have been magnificent, one has to say. They really have been very, very good indeed. Every man has been dedicated to the cause. They've used all their riders to their best possible strength. De La Fuente's been pinging about all over the place, policing this, policing that, really riding hard, always attentive. Menchov has been up towards the front, quietly plugging away, shutting down riders when they need to be shut down, pacing on the mountain. Sastre has done what he can today. Great move by Sastre to go up the road. If he can stay away with Barredo, as Sean says, the extra bonus seconds are mopped up, and there's no real chance of anybody coming home for that. Even at the last sprint point, you saw 1, 2, 3, 4 riders from Geox up there, including Cobo, keeping him well out of trouble. Mauro Gianetti's squad not favoured by the Tour de France for a couple of years. They are going to win the Vuelta Espana by the look of it, Sean.
Yes, it looks very much the case now that they are really in such a solid position. With today's stage just coming to a close as we come to the final 8 kilometres, if you get this one over with you, then you can take a deep breath and say thank God that one is over with. There's only the final day, and of course the final day in the big tour, it's pretty casual in the first 50% where the riders roll along, and then they do the racing in the last 50%. So the risk of anything happening in the final stage, and if you look back on the records, the race leadership changing on a road stage in a big tour in the final day, I don't think it's ever happened in time trial. Of course, yes, but so it's looking really good for Geox and for Cobo to win this Vuelta.
And look at this, Carlos Sastre has gone away from Carlos Barredo with 8 kilometres to go. He realises that the peloton are coming behind him. It's Astana working with Leopard Trek now. Astana for Enrico Gasparotto, probably. Leopard Trek for Daniele Benatti, definitely. And they are going to shut this gap down if they possibly can. Sastre is riding very strongly. This is not his favourite terrain. 44 kilometres per hour. And if he can get a win here, of course, that's fantastic for his own Palmares. But if he does get the win, it's also excellent for the Geox team because that's 12 seconds out of the way. Gosh, what a turn up for the books it would be if Christopher Froome was to ping off here. Barredo is caught, 17 seconds only. If Froome was to ride away at this point, get 12 seconds bonus, and Cobo was outside the top 3, there would be a second between them, Sean.
Yes, what a final it would be, and what a race we would have on tomorrow, because if you go into the final stage with only a second, well then
all bets are off.
It's going to be a real interesting one. Sastra's pushing on big time here, but still with just over 6 kilometers to go, it's going to be real difficult for him. The surprising thing is that Barredo wasn't able to follow on with Sastra here, because I was expecting Barredo to be quite strong all the way, but there you are, he just, you know, really got into difficulty there and not able to stay in the wheel of Sastra, so totally run out of power.
With 1, 2, 3 Leopard Trek men, Stuart O'Grady and then Maxi Montfort, can see the third one was, helping to lead out Daniele Benatti, even though with the best will in the world. It would be a very difficult proposition for Christopher Froome to win the stage today. Running into Vittoria. Froome, who is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 back at the moment. 6 kilometers to go.
14 seconds. It's not enough.
No, not enough for Sastra to stay away at this point, because they will shut it down, and then when they really get to motoring, at the moment they're still pulling it back in. And Cobo is on the wheel of Froome once more, about 12 back here now in the group. 20th overall, Carlos Sastra. Fine career and a Grand Tour win, the Grand Tour win that counts, of course, the Tour de France to his name. Riding solo at the moment towards the finish. He's giving it everything he can. If that gentleman would just step onto the island out of the way. Oh, by the way, I found out why the guys went the wrong way in the roundabout the other day. The guy had gone off, he was meant to be waving the flag, had gone off for a cup of coffee. Oh dear. And it was Robert Wagner from the Leopard Trek team who led them into that roundabout and went the wrong way. There was nobody waving in the right way. Let's see what the gap is. It was 17 seconds last time. 10 seconds now only remaining for Carlos Sastra. Under the 10 kilometer to go banner, it's a big peloton now. There was a group of 27 went away. Cataldo was pulled back fairly quickly. 26 remained. And they were gradually caught. Barredo was the last man to get away with 50k to go. Now it appears that Carlos Sastra is the only man with the capability of staying out at the moment. And the peloton breathing down his neck. Leopard Trek trying to set this one up for a sprint win for Daniele Benatti. He's struggled his way right the way through 3 weeks of the Vuelta a Espana, and they could dearly do with the win. The challenge for the overall classification has slipped away gradually as Montfort and Fulsang suffered in the really high mountains, but Geox have played it very well indeed. It's still all or nothing for Carlos Sastra here. 4 kilometers to go for the winner of the Tour de France in 2008. Christopher Froome went sprinting for an intermediate sprint. The intermediate sprint, by the way, the final one, was changed during the stage to a later point, just after the 20 kilometers to go banner. A bit shambolic for Chris Froome. Unfortunately, I think he misunderstood. He went sprinting for the 20 kilometer to go banner. Would have picked up 4 seconds after Carlos Barredo had gone over, but it was the wrong banner. And Cobo followed him, but Cobo has remained ever vigilant, and Barredo is beginning to pedal squares here. Sastra is beginning to pedal squares here. Suffering now, with the peloton looking just up the road. They can see him, and they will start to really open the tap very shortly, Sean, when they get to about the 3 kilometer to go banner. I think they might want to get around that 2k to go corner, the sharp right hand bend first.
Yes, and as we can see, it's just striking up a little bit here. Sastra suffered in big time, and not surprising because he's put in a big effort in the last number of kilometres. And at the front of the bunch we see Montfort here from the Leopard Trek team controlling the pace and not giving it anything near his best, because they're just playing the waiting game, as we see Sastra after passing through the 3 kilometres to go with the bunch about to pull him back in.
Near the back, Juan Haraj, stage here in the Vuelta a Espana. He out-sprinted Stefan Schumacher, actually, from a small group. Around the 2 kilometre to go corner will be the next big test for the peloton. Sastre looks over his shoulder. Astana and Leopard have shut this one down. The two sprinters they will be working for: Daniele Benatti of Leopard, Enrico Gasparotto, another Italian rider riding for Astana, and they push on. 12 seconds available at the finish for a win, and then 20, 12 and 8 are the bonuses available at the end today. If, of course, for some bizarre reason, Cobo was to finish outside the top 4 and Froome was to win it, it would be a whole different ball game, even if we went with even less seconds into the final day tomorrow. But Froome a fair way back there, Sean, and not looking as though he's going to contest this one at all, because this really is a sprinter's day today.
Yes, it is. It's a sprinter's day, but still 2 kilometres to go, just gone past that, so there is time to make a move. And I think if Froome has to do something here, he probably has to, make a surprise move. But again, the speed is real high here, and that's not Christopher Froome a strong point at all. He's going to have difficulty. Anybody would have difficulty, making an attack here. If you want to maybe surprise the sprinters and have a go a bit earlier, it's going to be very difficult here with the speed real high at the moment, 65 kilometers per hour.
Yep. Getting away from this is a question we're asked all the time. Why doesn't Froome or Wiggins attack at this point? They might like to have a go. They might even have a go. But getting away from somebody at this sort of speed is a very big task indeed. It's only a handful of men in the world can do this. Fabian Cancellara is one. David Miller has a go at about 3 kilometres to go normally. Under the final kilometre to go banner, there's a left-hand turn around the roundabout. They have to go around the right-hand side. Please don't have a cup of coffee, whoever you're there. Interesting run outs, and all safely through now. We're in the last kilometre here. Will Daniele Benatti finally get his win, or will Gasparotto upset the party? They're running towards the line here. In Quick Step team, Nicolas Mace is hanging about behind Daniele Benatti and Gasparotto. Also, it looks like Timmer or Vilas, who is just behind Gasparotto for Skill Shimano. On the left-hand side, down goes Daniele Benatti. He's driving towards the line. Enrico Gasparotto is still on his wheel. I don't think he has the horsepower to outdo him. Benatti gets the win. Gasparotto gets second spot. So the two sprinters that were being worked for making the move, and all the time bonuses mopped up straight away. Christopher Froome will enter tomorrow's stage towards Madrid from Jarama, the motor racing circuit, in second spot by 13 seconds. Juan Jose Cobo will ride in towards Madrid as the leader and winner of the Vuelta a Espana, unless anything drastic happens tomorrow, and it really is going to be very, very difficult indeed. There are 2 sprint points, but remember, the sprint points in total are not enough to overhaul Juan Jose Cobo. 6 points available for each, and he would still be a second behind Cobo. To me, it is now Juan Jose Cobo's race to ride into Madrid as the victor of the Vuelta a Espana. A little bit of showing by Chris Froome today, Sean, and a mistaken point for the intermediate sprint.
Yes, a bit of a mistake, and it's easy to do because, with that 20 to go banner and the sprint just a little